Hello everybody, Coach O'Connor here. Thanks for joining me for this Tuesday training. Tonight we're going to tackle trauma. The word trauma comes from a Greek word that means wound, or there's one interpretation, pierce. So you've got to be wounded or to be pierced. And tonight I want to give you a strategy for overcoming trauma. And two of the terms that you should probably get used to hearing in terms of releasing trauma is dissociation and association. Association is you're in the movie. You can only see from your cheekbone out. To give you an example how that feels, imagine I was going to take like $100 bill and I was going to crumple it up. And I'll say you can have it. All you have to do is catch it. So you're now associated trying to catch this $100 bill, okay? So everybody get ready, get your hands in it so you can only see your hands, and here comes that $100 bill. And if you catch it, that feeling is association. To dissociate would be to kind of imagine yourself way back in the bleachers and watching some guy down there, talking to his buddy. You're way back there watching it. That's dissociation. For a trauma cure or for a wound or a piercing that's taken place in your life, I want to introduce you to what we call three-part dissociation. So here's how that works. You see, I have a chair sit here. If I was to sit in the chair and watch the movie, imagine that's a movie screen, and we're in a theater now, so I'm watching the movie. If I'm watching a movie of myself have a trauma, I can do that from here and be a little less impacted than if I'm in the movie. But for three-part dissociation, we're going to imagine that we literally float up and we go all the way back behind the projection booth. Now we're up in the projection booth at the theater looking down. We're safe behind the plexiglass where the filming is shooting, and it's coming down and we can see ourselves sitting here. And we're going to watch from way back there, watch this traumatic experience we went through. So that's three-part dissociation. So it's hard to get hurt up in the projection booth when you're watching yourself have a terrible situation. So how do we release trauma using this technique? This is the fun part. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the screen a still black and white photo of the trauma. So when you have say you were in a car wreck, and now every time you get behind the wheel, it's just too nerve-wracking, it's too scary because you're traumatized because of this big steel boat that you're driving, and it didn't work out. So if that was the case, I would imagine, just for the exercise, a black and white picture of me getting in the car that morning before I got in the accident. Now I'm here watching that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to float out and I'm going to come back behind here, and I'm going to watch on the gray screen, I'm going to watch myself in the accident. Go right straight through. I get in the car, I drive, and it goes all the way through to where I got hit in the intersection, and then the police came, the ambulance came to check me out, and then I'm okay, and then I stop it. Black and white, stop it. I stop it at the very end. So it's stopped here, I'm okay again. But what's inside me is still shaky, and that's traumatic, and it flares up every time I get close to an accident or I hear about an accident. So it's a trauma, and it lives on. Here's how we release it. So now, from the projection booth, imagine I float up into the movie, the black and white movie, and I all of a sudden turn it color, full color, and I watch it backwards all the way fast in 1.5 seconds, like this. Zoop! I'm sucked back through it black in full color from the time I was okay all the way through the accident, all the way to the beginning. And I do that about 5 times very quickly. And if I have a soundtrack in my mind when I go through this trauma of this, I'm going to change the music too when I'm in the color movie being sucked through it backwards. So I leave the projection booth, I come up there, zoom, beep, 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 all the way back. Now, when you watch this traumatic event backwards in full color, and you're sucked back through it, it releases the neurological link to the trauma. And the way we test it is, we literally, if it was myself, I would say, okay, now watch the original trauma. When you first got in the accident, and how does it feel? Do you still come unglued? And generally speaking, that little trauma cure releases us from the wound and the piercing. So it's a trauma cure. I've had a lot of success with it. It really does work. The power in it is if you're able to dissociate and watch it, get to the end, and then associate into the movie and be sucked back through it in full color with some different sound and some different music. I'll be happy to try this out with you. You can email me or call me on Facebook Messenger, and we'll walk through this, and it will help you very much if you do suffer from trauma. Thanks for tuning in.